Everybody, NFT fans, DAO lovers, and envelopers. This is another episode of the DAO Envelop podcast. And today is the blockchain gaming play to earn episode. And I'm having now Andy. He's the co-founder and content editor on SamuraiLegends. And SamuraiLegends is the play to earn samurai themed NFT GameFi metaverse, if I'm not mistaken. So, Andy, it's great to have you on our podcast. Please say if I'm not mistaken, and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome. Glad to be here, and looking forward to the AMA.
Okay, that's great. So, I don't know how our viewers do they like Federal Japan or do they not? But they like blockchain. I do. Really. And they like stories. Of course, I always start with story of my guests. I ask them, how did you get into the crypto space? How did you start? And what have you already done? Tell us a story.
Sure. So I entered the crypto space mostly interested in just trading the assets. That was my intention. That was my only goal, just to trade assets and to make profit. But at one point, I actually noticed something which quite intrigued me, and that was play to earn projects, play to earn games. That was extremely interesting, and it's what actually got me to for the first time to actually check out the project, the asset that I'm actually buying and trading, to see what it actually is, what it actually does. And the reason why I was so intrigued was because I am personally a gamer and have been a gamer my entire life. I've been playing countless games and basically playing so many games. And just by seeing this, that you could actually play a game and actually earn, that concept, that idea, that vision was very interesting to me. And I wanted to learn more. And, the nostalgia starts kicking in, like all the games that I've played. What if, I don't know, World of Warcraft or any other game, or StarCraft, or I don't know, Red Alert. I mean, any game that I've played. What if I could have actually earned something from those games? What if I could have gotten something back from those games? And that's what got me intrigued. That's what got me interested in the first place. And that's what got me into entering all these projects and checking out what they're about, what they do, how the whole thing works, what kind of an ecosystem they have, how do you actually earn, and all these things. And in that process, I kind of stumbled into SamuraiLegends, which was originally called Rising Sun. And I stumbled upon that project and I entered that space. And it was the first time that I wasn't just reading what they're all about and reading other people's comments. I actually decided to take this other step, the next step, to ask questions and to get connected with the community and to see what they're actually about and how they work. And the second thing, what got me super intrigued and what got me interested in this space was the fact that the people that answered my questions were the actual people that were developing the projects and the games. And that was extremely exciting. And that got me even more interested, and that actually got me even more involved. And once, one thing led to another, I kind of started sharing my ideas with the developers, with the people working on the project, and they liked me, they liked my ideas, they liked how I was thinking, and that's kind of how I got here. And in the end, got part of the core team of SamuraiLegends.
So you started as a classical Web 2 game player, and then you had self-onboarded you onto Web 3, being driven by your curiosity to earn money. That's the story. And
pretty much.
I've got a question for you. I plan to answer in the end, but if this was your story, how would you suggest to onboard people? And I'm pretty sure that you've been designing this task in SamuraiLegends also, how to onboard people from Web 2 pay to play, wow, it's called gaming to play to earn gaming. Your tips and life hacks you've already learned from your personal story of onboarding.
So how to get more people from Web 2 to Web
Yes,
3.
to Web3 gaming, yeah.
Oh, this
Through
is
gaming, or maybe not through gaming, but gaming as a particular part of onboarding, I would say.
Yeah, well, definitely through gaming. I mean, if you want to get gamers to get involved from Web 2 to Web 3, it has to be through games. And this is actually part of the problem that I've seen, and not just me, that most of us have seen, for example, last year, that the whole idea of the crypto gaming space was to involve only the people from the crypto space and not real gamers. And I think that was a big mistake. I'm not going to say that's the reason why everything is very red right now, but it is one of the reasons, and it is one of the reasons why the leading projects are doing very bad right now, because most people in crypto are only interested in profit, not so much into the product. And the whole ecosystems that have been built originally were only using that logic. And that's where the term play to earn actually comes into play, where you literally play the game to earn. You don't play the game because you're interested into the game, because you want to be entertained, which is kind of the whole purpose of gaming in general. You play the game to earn. And that itself is a ticket to downfall, because that cannot be sustainable in any way. And I believe which is currently, it's also our how should I put, not ideology, but our goal and our way of creating this space and creating our product is to create a game which the side product of the game is the earning aspect. Obviously, if you can invest more, you can earn more, but the whole product, the idea of the product is that it's a game. It's a fun game. It's a fun world. It's, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. There is a competitive element. There is exploring element. There is like a role-playing element. There's, so many things that get these gamers involved and get interested. And then the side product, which was my reason of entering this space, was, you can actually earn something and get back something from the game, so that the investment that you put into the game, it actually, can get back. And actually you could also earn, the better you are, the more you can earn. So I would say that is one of the most important things. And the second thing is to get the gamers into Web3 would be to simplify it, and simplify it in the terms of, so if you want them to get involved and to learn what you're about, what your game is, and to start playing, you need to skip at least the entering process. So if people want to play, they shouldn't really immediately have to learn what is blockchain, what are gas fees, what are wallets, how to use, what are different blockchains, and all these things, because it is kind of complicated. And gamers just want to, I just want to play this game and see how it is. And then like, I don't like it. Okay, I'm going to play another game. That's the gamer mindset. And then if you put this barrier to enter, then they're not even going to try. So this is one of the things that we want to introduce, is like a free to play concept within our game, where you can start immediately. You just create your own NFT character. It's within the game, and you can start playing, you can start exploring, you can start testing, you can do the basic things without doing any investments. And that's the interesting part. And if you get intrigued, if you're like, okay, I like this, I want to see what else I can do, I want to see if I invest, how, if I would potentially invest, what else I can get from this game, then we can introduce tools and resources, which we already have, is like how to earn, how to learn to use your wallet, how to create a wallet, how to use it, what are different blockchains, and all these things that I've mentioned, different that you need. For example, if you're on the Ethereum, you need for gas fees, you need if you're in BNB, you need BNB for gas fees, and so on and so on. So these two things are, I believe, currently the most important things to onboard those players.
Yeah. have a possibility to compare Web 2 and 3. Do you still continue to play Web 2 games? And if yes, why?
Honestly, I don't have time for that. So my answer would be no.
I heard the opinion that play to earn is more like a job, sort of like a job, because players do that for money, not for joy. I agree with that.
Yes, and that's one of the main problems why the thing actually is failing and why okay, so the way we have introduced it, and I think others have already introduced it, is not play to earn, but play and earn. So you're playing a game, your entertainment purpose, because I mean, if you look at it, gaming is currently like the biggest entertainment business in the world. So if you want to onboard all these people, you need to entertain them. Don't need to give them a job because they already have a job. What they need is entertainment. And if they can get, a byproduct they can also earn, that's the bonus. And it shouldn't be the core thing behind it, which unfortunately for the past year was like, that was the whole purpose of all these games.
Well, SamuraiLegends, what is it shortly? And what is your role or roles or jobs inside this game? What are you responsible for?
What am I responsible for?
Yes.
So I am in a way, I'm like the product manager and marketing officer. So, okay, that would be my position, kind of. What I actually do, I'm actually managing, for example, we have the docs, the white paper docs that we have, and we also have a guides and tutorial on Substack. These are the things that I manage. I'm also responsible of managing the content that is published on our own podcast, like SamuraiLegend podcast. And I'm also part of the marketing and educational team where we discuss how to communicate. This is probably the most important part, how we communicate and with the community and with our buyers, and generally how we express ourselves and how we market our product and who and how we want to reach. But the second question was about SamuraiLegends.
The first question, yes. What is SamuraiLegends? What's the difference between
the problem there? The problem there is that you said to be short, and I will have a very, very difficult time.
This is not my requirement. You made it for our podcast.
Because okay, sure. So basically, SamuraiLegends is, as I already said, free to play, but a grand strategy. So this is a very big name for the game. So free to play grand strategy MMO RPG metaverse, which is set, as you said, in feudal Japan. And within that game, players get to play PvP battles, PvE battles. They get to build, they get to strategize in different ways. They get to utilize different tactics within, combat battles within the world. They get to engage into politics, and they also gain influence among other players and among other players. So the game includes, I've already mentioned a bit of this. So the game includes like exploration, doing quests, doing different tasks, very importantly, character development. So your own character, the character that you are within the game. Then there is also unit development for your army. Each unit has its own development structure, which unlocks different abilities, which can be used in combat. Then there is a variety of different kinds of battles. Then there is clans and guilds, which unites all these players into selective clans and guilds, where they fight each other and they can progress. They can progress further within the game by being in the clan, and obviously the leaders of the clan can progress the most. And actually which is very, very important, the social and economic and political aspect of the game is the utilization of these clans and guilds, because these are required in order to progress as the character, as a player in the game. You need to socialize, you need to create guilds to in order to reach the highest ranks within the game. And the higher rank you are, the higher yields you can have, but at the same time, the higher responsibilities you have and the higher risks you have. The cool and interesting part of the game is so first of all, it's the hierarchy system, which is connected to the character development, so the player development, which is very themed so to the feudal Japan era, where as a free-to-play player, you start as a nobleman, and then the next rank is like a samurai commander, which already, so a nobleman has very limited, as a free-to-play player has very limited things that you can do within the game. But already with minimal investment, you can already become a samurai commander, which is going to be most of the players. And then you already have certain utilities that you can do within the game. But then the exciting part within, this hierarchy, pyramid hierarchy, is the next level, which is the daimyo, which literally translates to landowner. And these guys are controlling not just the lands, they're also controlling the players that are working on their own lands. So in order to describe it a bit better, I would have to define the lands themselves first. So the lands are separated in 3 different categories. You have the smallest lands called shogun. Those are like basic, smallest parts of lands where you can build some structures and where you actually farm different kinds of resources. And then you have Hans, which constitute of different kind of many shoguns. And then on top of it, you have provinces, which constitute of many Hans. So the bigger the region, the more territories it has. And then shogun, any player, any samurai commander can control a shogun, but a Han, you need to be a daimyo, you need to be a landlord in order to control it, because you already control several players on that region. And then you have a higher daimyo, which controls all the daimyos within the province. And the cool and interesting part is, so the hierarchy is the number of territories is limited, which means that the number of daimyo rank players is also limited. And especially the provinces, which is going to be, let's say 100 provinces. So the number of province daimyos is limited to 100 players in total. And then on top of those, there is one player at the top of the hierarchy, is the shogun, who controls, in a way, everything. Obviously, his power is limited, but certain things he can do. For example, and this is the second cool thing about the game, is the taxation system. So the shogun can actually define the taxation, the taxes that are going to be paid by everyone else within the hierarchy pyramid. So the daimyo, the province daimyos have to answer to the shogun and give him percentage, while the daimyo below the province daimyos have to give percentage to the daimyo, the province daimyos, and then the samurai commanders and other players have to give, so the shogun owners have to give taxes to the Han daimyos. And by combining these 2 things, we create a very dynamic and a conflicting environment where, considering that the number of players that can be daimyo is limited, that position can be taken away. So you can lose that position. Shogun can remove you if you don't pay the taxes, but other players can dethrone you. They can take over your territories and they can become the new daimyo of the territory, of the Han or the province. So this creates a very interesting dynamic where the top players, the main players, the highest earning players, obviously the shogun is one guy and his yields are going to be huge. He's going to have huge yields. But in order to become that, you need to have a massive army and a massive amount of allies to become there, because you're going to get challenged continuously. and people are going to try to become that, top player. But of course, all the ones below, all these are going to be challenged continuously over and over again. So by creating a system like this, players don't have just high yields, they also have to be involved in the ecosystem. So they have to return to the ecosystem, reinvest, and keep their position, which is going to be conflicted all this time. And so this is the taxation and the player progression. There is the unit progression, which is very important for the combat system, because each unit has a number of different skills that they can use. But as they progress, more skills are opened and more tactics and strategies you can implement, because there is each combat is limited to 5 units, but you can use only 3 out of the 5. And then each unit can have, I don't know, I forgot the exact number, and it hasn't been, it can be changed, but let's say it's 15 different skills. You can only choose 3 skills from the 15. So this creates a very complex and very competitive environment for, different strategies and different tactics, where, the competitive element, which is extremely important for these type of games, is involved. And another thing, which is also important for our game, is the way we want to introduce it is a different angle for different kinds of players, with different people with different interests. You could be just someone who's interested in building, so you could just be doing buildings, building and not be involved in combat. You could be an explorer, just going around and exploring things. You could be a fighter, and quite literally a fighter. You could be a mercenary who is going in conflicting territories and fighting for the highest bidder, or you could be fighting for both sides. It's up to you. You could be a grinder who's like just grinding and trying to get as many yields as possible, and getting extracting value from the ecosystem in the most efficient way. You could be a competitive player, like, which we will also introduce, like battle arenas, where people are going to be using the combat system and trying to test their skills and become like the top player. And there's also the guild aspect. So that entire social aspect is very, very cool, because all these people that you need to involve, all these people that are under you, so you need to become a political leader, you need to become a very good diplomat, and you need to understand the ecosystem in order to lead people, not just in a military way, but in an economical way. And also at the same time, and this is kind of a Game of Thrones theme, where we are actually expecting that there is going to be a lot of backstabbing and betraying within these guilds, which are not going to be very, not going to have very good leaderships. So that's going to create a very interesting dynamic within the game. I think, I think I've covered like the most important things.
Definitely. Now, I don't understand why it requires so a lot of time to. And your fathers must be absolutely satisfied with you as a team member, because you are absolutely passionate of SamuraiLegends. You love what you do, and you love what, and the product absolutely well. You have sold SamuraiLegends for me. Congratulations, and family listeners. By the way, of course, all the links are in the description. You may just go and see how it works. Why Binance, BNB chain?
Well, quite simply, it's one of the biggest chains, and tax, the tax is kind of cheap. It's not the cheapest, and it's relatively fast, and we've been using it before. Yeah, basically that would be the reason, but we are exploring multiple chains, a possibility for multi-chain in the future. So that is definitely open later on.
Absolutely. Tell us briefly about who are the core team members of SamuraiLegends. Who created this besides you?
Sure. So first of all, let me say that we have created a company. It's called Chain Pixel Labs. I think the website is also Chain Pixel Labs, which you can find. And I'm not sure if all the core members are there yet, but it will be updated at some point. It's not a priority right now. And we are actually currently in search of developers, which would work on the development of the game. The core team constitutes of 11 members. Mostly are in the STEM field. The total team, I believe, so with all the other members that are also part-time working with us, I think it's 26. I think that was the last number. So our CEO is David. I think, yeah, I'm just going to mention a couple which are the most important. So David has been a software engineer with Amazon, and he quit Amazon to fully commit on SamuraiLegends. He's been a lead software developer and has led development of several projects with millions of users. Then we got Yannick, COO. He's actually been studying to become a doctor, and he almost finished. So I think he only needed to do his thesis, I believe, but he stopped his education, and he also has committed to SamuraiLegends full time, actually even more than full time, to be honest. He's a data analyst and a published scientific researcher. He has background in game and graphic design. Yeah. And then we got Kay. He's our chief design officer. He has like 10 years of experience as a freelance motion designer. And he also worked for an advertising agency as a designer. So he's the guy who does he creates all the NFTs, all the art, not just the NFTs, for everything, which is SamuraiLegends basically, and even our website and dashboard and everything. We also have our own writer. We got a data analyst, like a very good data analyst. We got several developers, part of the core team, and marketing and educational, several members that are part of that field, which I'm also part of.
Absolutely, big professional team. Got you. Well, where is SamuraiLegends on its roadmap for now? What are your plans till the end of 2022?
We are currently between there is one thing. First, let me just say this. There's one thing what we've learned from creating roadmaps and giving dates for publishing and for development. What we have learned is that the biggest mistake that you can do is give dates and that you do not uphold to those dates, and that you are either super late or there's like problems, and then there is, within the community, there is more and more problems. So basically what we have decided is not to give dates. We have decided to create a roadmap, which shows different kinds of phases, how we are intending to, how to go with our development, and without giving dates. And basically, it also gives us flexibility and room to actually, not go exactly as the roadmap, but actually be flexible and go, currently we are between phases 1 and 2, and some things have been moved as a lesser priority, like backwards, and something else have been moved forward as a more priority. So currently we are introducing more of the new units, and also creating limited edition units that can be purchased each month, and they sell very, very fast. And there is also like the highly anticipated Archer Ninja Monk, which have been special NFTs since for a while now, but we've been pushing that for the future, and they're going to be finally introduced. And the secondly, which is coming, I would say within a month or two, is the introduction of the metaverse universe, where all the players are going to meet for the first time in this capital city of Samurai Legends, and everyone's going to be able to communicate. Everyone's going to be, able to chat, show off their character, their character within the game, and there's going to be several buildings that are going to be there for the market for trading the NFTs, for the battle arena where the battles are going to take place, and then a place for for cosmetics for your character and NFT, and some other things that I cannot say at the moment. And the plan, the last question was the plan for the 2022 is to get the map to be openable, to open the map basically. So to get all these units, all these players to be able to move on the map, to start the quests, to start tasks, to start the unit development, to start doing the combat, the new combat, which we actually currently have Samurai Rising as our alpha game, which was introduced with our play and earn ecosystem, and it's still alive and kicking, and people are still earning. But the idea is to introduce this new and very complex unit progression system and unit system, and the new combat system. So basically, the start of the metaverse, the start of the map, so not opening the entire map, but parts of the map, and to get the guilds and the players, and to get everything rolling basically.
Well, how non-fungible tokens or NFTs are specifically utilized in Samurai Legends? If I do understand, there's samurai avatars, they may be the lands, and what else?
Currently there are so NFTs as in combat units. So we got samurai, we got generals, which were the Genesis NFTs. So those were the first NFTs that have been minted. And afterwards came the samurai, and now slowly the archer, ninja, monk are going to be coming, and the rest, there are many, many more. In each one currently are used within the Samurai Rising game, which is a very simple card game. Exists since September. Since September. It's a very simplified card game. Very simple principle. You got 4 elements: fire, earth, water, wind, and then each card has strength, or we call it power. So from 1 to 10, and then basically each player has like 5 cards, and battles, each card enters a duel. You play a card, your opponent plays a card, and then the stronger the card, the higher the power, the NFT wins, unless there is a counter element. So fire beats earth, water beats fire, and so on, and which gives a power boost. Basically, there is a different power boosts based on chance, and that's basically Samurai Rising, a very simplified game. People are already earning, and that's for the units, for the NFT units. Secondly, there is the lands that you've mentioned. They can already be bought, but one thing I do need to note, so in which I did skip. So basically, when it comes to lands, the current lands that can be purchased are within Samurai Legends universe. There is going to be outer provinces and inner provinces. The outer provinces are the lands that can be bought, and they have I wouldn't say limited yields, but have lower yields than the provinces that are inner provinces, which are much, much larger, and there are many, many more, which are being fought over and can be taken from other players. So there is no permanent ownership. It's all about the conflict, as I've already mentioned. So the lands that can be purchased are in the outer provinces, and there are still some more lands that can be bought. And currently, the land's utility is to build basic structures and amass some resources. which will transition into the Samurai Legends and will be actually the important part for kicking off the Samurai Legends economy, the resource economy.
Well, by the way, what is the money-making mechanics inside the game? What should the player do to earn money? Just to play and develop NFT prizes, or you may sell, or what should
okay. So yeah, the play and earn concept is based on playing the game and beating your opponents. So the more opponents you beat, the more you earn. The one thing that I did skip, the important factor is the amount of games that you can play on a daily basis is based on how many NFTs you have. The more NFTs you have, the more games you get to play. That's the play and earn. Obviously, you can trade them. You can trade them on the marketplace. We did have before, as we've been experimenting back in the day last year with breeding concept, which we called it the recruiting concept, but we have halted that concept, and we will be introducing a new concept within Samurai Legends where it will be, I can't really divulge too much into it. It will be a very complex system. It will be very limited to, I guess I can say it will be limited to population. So there is going to be, unlike all these breeding NFT games that have unlimited supply and they can just, breed forever, within our universe, there will be a limitation which will be based on population. So another resource within the game, which is very important, is population. So the higher population you have, the more units you can create, the more combat units and the more non-combat units, which are so the combat units are basically for combats, and then non-combat units are the units that are working on your lands or doing various tasks. And we don't have those yet. We do have a few. We have one. Okay, so there are pets also that are going to be part of the game. So you have pet NFTs, which are going to give, I believe the idea is to give, which can also be changed in the future, but currently the idea is that pets are going to give like passive buffs, which can be basically anything from combat buffs to, movement buffs to various things. And then there is, which is also, and I have skipped this, I'm sorry that I skipped this. This is a very important part of the Samurai Legends universe, is the item selection and item creation. So everything your NFTs have can be changed with different items. So you can actually craft better weapons, better armor to make them stronger. So not just unit development and experience, it's also the items they have that you can build, create, and mint. You can also make them stronger in that way. So yeah, very complex and very, very wide system.
Because you are absolutely familiar how NFT works as a tool, as an instrument. How do you see the potential of utilizing an NFT anywhere in the world, now in the future? How it will reshape, how do we live, how do we do business, how do we play, and so on and so forth? Any vision on this? Oh,
generally speaking, well, I think we have just started to grasp what we can actually do with NFTs. I mean, yes, currently NFTs are mostly used for artists, so various kinds, from video, from picture, from even music. So that's the dynamic is very interesting, because the creators, the artists actually can get to do they can actually create, it creates different business models that haven't existed before. So there is the idea of true ownership. There is the idea of that the artist can actually know exactly who is, every time it gets sold, he can get a cut, for example, or he can modify the NFT that has special perks. For example, like it can be music, it can be art that can change through, over time. So perks can change, can become better, can, all these things are new. And, but the coolest thing currently that people, I mean, that I've read people are saying, and I really like the idea, is that it's going to transform the markets, like, for example, property markets. It's going to change them completely in terms of currently, I mean, this is something that I don't know if it's the same in all over the world, but we have this law obligation that you need to go to this you go to this lawyer that puts a stamp on any type of contract to make it valid, and then you need to pay him a percentage cut or a fixed sum based on whatever the contract is. And you always need this middleman. And what NFTs are actually creating is cutting that middleman, because it's completely unnecessary, because already on blockchain, which is impossible to copy, it's obvious who the owner is and obvious who has the ownership. And there is no need for that middleman. And I think that idea is already really, really cool. And I think I've read somewhere that only, I don't know, around 30% of all global properties have legal ownership. And obviously that at some point of time is going to become a problem for people that are using, those properties. And NFTs could actually solve that problem really, really fast. So, but as I said, we are just grasping the possibilities currently. So
absolutely, yes, we will see how it will be working. I would love to ask you the professional question from our Envelop team. The Envelop is the NFT shaped DAO. I would say our main product is the working protocol for NFTs. And if you're not familiar with the working protocol, I'll explain it shortly. It's quite easy, because I'd love to know how will it be possible for gaming. I ask all my guests about that. So the concept of wrapping, it allows to take an NFT, add to it any fungible tokens, add some useful features as time lock or event lock or royalties or rental mechanics, etc., and wrap it in a sort of, I would say, transparent package, I would say, yeah. So this wrapped NFT technically get the same NFT with the same metadata, and acts as the container with NFT crypto assets. And what it gives a predictable price due to existing of fungible crypto assets there. Finally, it leads to a lot of use cases in dozens of niches, especially in play-to-earn gaming. For example, it allows to make NFT rentable or lendable. You may jump into the game, not to earn anything you want to buy. You may rent your samurai avatar, you rent your piece of land, whatever you like, and start to play with the starting point. So what are your main thoughts on this concept of making this NFT predictable with price and behavior with the concept of wrapping? And could it be useful for SamuraiLegends, theoretically and practically?
Well, it definitely could. It definitely could. I mean, we do already have a concept of borrowing NFTs, like the scholarship system, which has been introduced in many other games as well, is a borrowing system where the owner gives the rights to a scholar to play the game, basically, and then they split their profits based on their agreement. So it definitely, I mean, we already are using that kind of a concept. And in SamuraiLegends, one of the problems that we see is that it's based on a trust system. And the trust system is, our current system is, so we can't really control what the owner and the scholar are doing and what kind of a deal they're making. We cannot get involved. So there could be kind of, people that don't uphold their deal, the contract that they made. So what we are trying to make is to get a fully integrated system within our own game where those deals are going to be made. And we also want to make it as flexible as possible to make long-lasting contracts, but also extremely short contracts. So we are introducing a bounty system. So let's say you have a bounty board where people can put tasks that they want others to do for them, and you can just select a task and do it for them, and then they pay you for doing it. So, this is the grinding system. This is if you're interested to play this game as a job, you can. So this is also this option that has been introduced, for like, last year with, for example, NFTSY, where people have started grinding as much as they can to, amass all these earnings as a scholar. So, and the bounty that we are trying to introduce is going to be as flexible as possible to do, different kinds of quests, different kinds of tasks, that you can work on different lands, that you can, for example, when units are moving from one place to another, you're trying to move, for example, resources from one region to another, and there is a possibility that those units get attacked, and then you put a bounty as the guy who wants to attack, or the bounty as the guy who wants to protect those units. So very, very flexible, and not just from the perspective of time, like how long, but also from the tasks themselves. Like, it can be literally something very, very simplified. And, you maybe don't have time to do all these tasks, especially if you're like if you have a big investment and you own a lot of lands, and there's like a lot of things that you need to manage. You need to delegate all these tasks either to within your guild, or you need to find people that are going to do those tasks. So, very interesting dynamic that we're trying to, introduce within our ecosystem. So, basically.
Yeah, thanks for the answer. That's a great answer. We've already stated that one of the best ways to onboard people from Web 2 to Web 3, and this means to learn about Web 3 to make them familiar, is to start to play to earn, play a blockchain game, such as SamuraiLegends. May you suggest any other more sophisticated ways, not sophisticated from more hard, but another ways to learn Web 3? Because Web 3, it is a big new world with its laws. By the way, the laws of Web3 act like laws in real life, because this is the economics. We have property, goods. We may do whatever humanity has been doing for thousands of years, cells, pledge, and so on and so forth, all the economics. So it's quite easy to understand, having have lived in our daily life. What are another ways to learn Web3? What do you suggest besides gaming?
Generally for Web3.
Yes, totally general.
Well, I like the approach from the utility wise. So depending on what you want to get from Web3, that should be your standing point. Yeah, that should be your talking point. So in gaming, it should be gaming. If it's property value, if it's, if you're into property, if it's medicine, you should introduce it as what are the benefits and how better it can be used as Web3. The problem is, as everything else in this space, it's very, very early, and it's very, very difficult and complex for newcomers. So to be honest, personally, in order for that there are no mistakes, so that when you enter and when you invest, you need to make sure that you truly understand how things work, regardless, as I said, utility, regardless of what you're doing in the crypto space. If you want to invest, you really need to know how these things work. And I'm quite aware that information is scarce. And quite aware that it's difficult to understand. I mean, there are a lot of videos, there are a lot of texts. I mean, Binance has a very cool academy, tutorials, and so on, in other spaces as well. But as a newbie, it's still complex and not easy to understand. So I'm hoping, like everything in Web 2, like what happened, for example, with YouTube, or at one point you have literally video for anything. I don't know how to cut. I mean, I'm not even joking. I don't know how to cut tomatoes. I don't know how to cut onions, and you got videos for that. You got videos how to change a bulb light on your car. You got literally everything. So what I'm hoping for Web3, that at one point information is not going to be as scarce. There's going to be plenty of content creators that are going to inform. And there's going to be so much information there that you can get literally anything you want, and you can get it extremely fast. So that's what I would say would be the best approach, to get as much content and information as possible.
This is absolutely great suggestions. And such a podcast, for example, this is a great way to learn, because you have the usual people who has been around you for years, and they are talking about something interesting Web3. Just listen to them. How they had onboarded from Web2 gaming to Web3. Why did you get there? This is interesting, from personal stories, P2P personal stories. Well, Andy, and finally, this was an amazing episode. You are the great speaker for the podcasts. You have to use this format for the marketing purposes, because your voice, you're absolutely fit for this. I love it a lot, really. Professional recommendations. So finally, Eddie, how to follow and how to join SamuraiLegends, how to become a samurai in the feudal Japan.
Good question. Yeah, good question. So all the information can basically be found on our website, so SamuraiLegends.io. And there you can find all our socials from Telegram and Discord, which I highly recommend to join. So if anyone is interested, join there, say hello. Someone is immediately going to answer. We have a really cool and great community, and everyone is there trying to help, trying to introduce you to everything. And we got, as I got introduced to this, we got devs, including me, that are there, that are communicating, that are answering any questions. So make sure to come and make sure to ask anything you want, because I'm 100% sure you will get the answer that you're looking for. And so on the website, you can find, all the docs, the Medium articles, which is the main information for SamuraiLegends. We're soon going to have a new theme-based, very cool concept and design white paper, which is going to be coming out, in a couple of weeks, I would say. We got so the Substack, we got the Gitbook docs. So all the information is there, but in case you still want to communicate, you still want to talk and ask questions, Telegram and Discord is what I would suggest.
Yeah, but honestly, what amazed me a lot, you have a 6 languages community: English, Chinese, Japan, if I'm not mistaken, Espanol. Isn't it hard to manage? Community consists of 6 languages. How do you do that? What are your life hacks and tips? How many people are you community managing?
Interesting question. Well, you need to find really good community managers. We have a very, very good one. It's a she, by the way. She does a really, really good job by managing all these communities. And you need to find good moderators that communicate well, basically. I mean, how
many? What percentage Japan players consist of the whole community of samurai? How many Japanese?
To be honest, not so many. Not so many. Yep. We got Chinese, we got a lot. Japanese, not so many, unfortunately. But we will definitely work more on the smaller communities, and we are planning to open even more. So
this means that the Japan culture and Japan philosophy attracts more people outside from Japan, not Japanese themselves, because they know a lot.
Yeah, they know it.
They know it very well. Okay, thank you very much, Andy. We've got Andy from SamuraiLegends. You may find all the links in the description of this podcast. This is the play to earn NFT samurai-based metaverse, not gated, but metaverse. So NFT are widely utilized there. So it's another good use case of how NFTs may be utilized, and how with NFT in gaming we may be taught to be free, maybe onboarded. This is an amazing world we live in. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Please like, share, subscribe, join SamuraiLegends, join Envelop community. Stay tuned. Our Telegram channel, our YouTube channel, and stay tuned for next episode of the Envelop podcast. We bring you unique content from the real Web3 professionals and users and players, Web3 inhabitants, I would say. My name is Eugene Crypto MC, Andy from SamuraiLegends with you. Thank you for watching and listening, and bye-bye. Blockchain. BLOCK chain. Digital money, smart contracts, NFT, IDO, decentralization, transparency, so many opportunities, but so many challenges. Some financial manipulators, by their actions, confuse blockchain solutions and block their development. The idea that the blockchain should bring copyright and royalties protection to the next level is quite old, but the realizations of these ideas are not perfect at all. There is another problem of determining the value of a particular cryptocurrency or NFT. These and other problems need to be solved. Fortunately, the blockchain infrastructure is evolving. My name is E, Mr. E, and I represent the Envelop project. Many things have already been invented in the blockchain today. Tokens, smart contracts, platforms for creating your own coins, NFTs, exchanges for buying, selling, and exchanging all these blockchain resources. Envelop is another step in the development of crypto technologies. The protocol that works with NFT and cryptocurrencies. The idea is simple but disruptive. Let's assume you have an NFT, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Using the Envelop protocol, you can wrap the original NFT accompanied with several tokens. Technically, you get a similar NFT, but what is the breakthrough here? Once wrapped, the token has a number of additional features that were not available before. The minimal cost appears. It is provided with coins wrapped together with NFT. An asset wrapped with Envelop has a number of properties that allow the original author to receive royalties from the resale of that asset. Various rules can be applied to the wrapped token. For example, a lock period for unwrapping. It secures the asset till the determined moment or safeguards it from speculation during the hype period. At the same time, wrapped tokens can be transferred and traded. These are just some of the scenarios for using Envelop. NFTs become more popular, and the tools provided by Envelop expand the opportunities of NFTs utilization. Wide application possibilities are achieved due to the fact that, in addition to the protocol, the project includes a number of subsystems. The protocol provides functions wrapping and unwrapping. Oracle Mechanics provides asset valuation using analytical algorithms. Index provides a summary assessment of several NFT assets with the common criteria. The project has its own token, which connects all elements of the system. Altogether, this is Envelop, a tool in the blockchain world for building modern and secure systems in various fields. Find more info about the project on the website. Envelop. Make your NFT valuable. Just practical, no hype.